Bluft was excited as she travelled down the orbital elevator once more. Selina had informed her that her new prosthetic was ready a whole day earlier than she had anticipated, and hoped the new limb was even half as good as the human had claimed it would be. Looking at the chronometer on her communication device, she saw that she still had a lot of time left before the elevator reached Tal V, and so she found herself beam watching. While the elevator platform was large and could handle cargo, it was typically beings moving to and from the planet in orbital ring. She saw a pair of rather strong-looking tuxes, sporting ruffled, torn clothes, bruises and cuts, though they seemed quite jovial and were talking animatedly with each other, in some dialect her translator would not process. After one of them got into a fighting stance, making some kind of martial art imitation and spoke, they both laughed heartily. Her eyes saw lots of tired Mipbots and fellow Nimians, heading back planetside after their shift in the ring. There were, however, peculiarities on this particular ride down. A very well-dressed and older-looking dapper of a male Mipbots, wearing a tailor's suit with some kind of garishingly ostentatious silver chain on his neck that held a blue jewel in a clasp as large as one of his many eyes. He was leaning on an intricately crafted metal cane that matched his suit quite nicely. Next to him, as the biggest Nimian she had ever seen outside of a fighting circuit or action vid. A tight muscle shirt, shorts that were positively scandalous, that showed off his full physique, yet held the mystery of what was under. One of his sides held a small arm of some kind, and the other held two shield sticks. The giant of a Nimian was in a relaxed pose, leaning against the wall but was scanning the room for threats. The Nimian must have seen her because he grinned, staring at her, and flexed. She nearly swooned on the spot. A quick look from the dapper Mipbots had the giant action vid Nimian, stopping his antics instantly. He mumbled something and went back to his relaxed pose on the wall. Continue her beam watching, albeit more flustered than she had been in a long time. She saw an actual enforcer, in full uniform, not just Tal V security forces. The Mipbot seemed to be eyeing the dapper one and action vid hero, though nothing was said, and Dapper seemed to be amused by everything going on, while action vid hero appeared nervous. It was a long way down. When the elevator finally came down and released its passengers, action vid hero and Dapper Man seemed to be able to bypass the preliminary checkpoint. Already having a plan, but not expecting to enact it so quickly, she ran up to the action vid hero, smiling all the way, and quickly wrote her contact information on his lower right forearm with a water-resistant cosmetic applicator. Satisfied, she went back to wait at the checkpoint before anyone could say anything. She watched action vid hero and Dapper Man get into a private hovercar and drive off without having to go through Tal V spaceport security. She lost track of the enforcer. Going through the checkpoint herself and answering a few mundane questions, she finally found herself outside the spaceport and booked a taxi from her communication device and would soon be at Selina's small house and workspace. Selina Thomas had been busy. After realizing that she would be billed for both sending and receiving out-system data transfers, she had called up a representative to the company managing her data plan. After upgrading to include the very pricey options of unlimited out-system data transfers, and making sure the change was available immediately and in writing, she sent a vidmail to everyone she knew. Every day since then, and twice to her mother. She was going to make every credit the company charged worth her while. While her birthday coincided with her father's untimely demise, she celebrated both. With his hollow picture in front of her on a table and chairs she acquired in a yard sale, she drank the agonizingly gross Trapogni. It was only a few stomach-churning glugs later that she found herself wasted on the floor, woefully unprepared for how potent it truly was. She managed to send 2 very drunk and emotional vidmails, one to her mum and one to her Uncle Robert. When she woke up, she had the worst Jupiter-sized hangover ever, rivaling or toppling the one she had in college. At least she still had both of her arms this time. The reason for her massive hangover became apparent soon enough, as the bottle of Trapogni had about an eighth left. She only remembered drinking a quarter of it. Wondering what else she had done, she looked through her phone's logs. Lots and lots of alien pornography and 2 sent vidmails. She did not remember any of it. As she watched the vidmail recordings, growing more and more mortified at what she said and how she looked, puffy-eyed, tear-streaked and voice-cracking, she quickly sent off apologies, unable to unsend them at this point. Sometime during the week, she managed to track down some lizard men that would sell her raw cuts of some kind of meat. Not certain if she was paying too much or getting a deal, she kept an eye out for others willing to sell her such things. Currently she had a batch of it in her refrigerator, in the attempt at a quality bulb marinade with something that was remarkably similar to plain white vinegar that was touted as a mild, all-natural surface cleaner. She was going to pan-sear them after Bluff left with her new prosthetic. The Nimian was scheduled to arrive soon. As Selena was straightening up her home and workspace, she heard her doorbell chime. "Well, there she is," Selena said, putting a shirt on a hanger into her closet. She would have to go to the laundromat very soon, perhaps tomorrow or the day after. Opening the door, she saw Bluff there, unable to quite contain her excitement. Come in, Selena said, opening the door fully, guiding the older woman to her workshop. "I was going to do a simple material swap, but something came over me and I became inspired and built you a new one, using the details of your interface as a base. Now, since your interface is a bit limited in data transfer and fidelity, I didn't bother with synth skin, except for the fingertips. You'll also have it improve kinesthetic and pressure sense." As Selena installed the prosthetic, and once given the all-clear, Bluff was beside herself in glee. "There's no lag," the old woman declared in awe, moving it in all sorts of ways. The fluidity of motion and responsiveness offered by her new limb was far superior to the previous one she had. She then ran her prosthetic's fingertips across Selena's work table and shivered. "I can feel the scratches on your table," she exclaimed. "Good. That means the connections are working properly," Selena said. "I wasn't certain if they would. So far it seems like everything is working the way it should. If there's any problems that arise, contact me and we'll make an appointment. You already know how to clean it, but your arm will need maintenance about every 1,000 hours of wear, which is included in our contract, so just make an appointment for that." Bluff nodded again, and looked at her very new and shiny chrome alloy arm. It was sleek, light, organically shaped, and looked like a real Nimian arm, apart from its colour and texture. "I still can't believe how well this responds," Bluff said again. "Well, it should. There should be no reason why a prosthetic doesn't mimic a true limb," Selena said. "Now, what do you want to do with that piece of junk?" I think I want you to do a repair and re-optimization on it. That way I can have a spare in case something happens to this one. No rush, though, just whenever you can." "Okay. Since it's not a priority, my rate is a little cheaper. No down payment required this time, I'll just add the cost to your existing ones." "Okay," Bluff replied, knowing that she would have to budget quite wisely for a while, and pick up an extra shift or so every so often. After finalizing the paperwork for the repair of her other prosthetic, and walking out of the home workspace, she was still moving her new arm about and touching random objects, as she waited for a ride. Once Selena was sure Bluff had left, she began to cook, playing some music on her phone as she danced a bit to the tune. She never knew an enforcer had made notes of who had left.